Well, thank you for tuning in to the F5 Recovery Podcast. We're super grateful that you have all joined us for another episode. This is wonderful to be joined with my awesome co-hosts, Adam Martin, Kirsten Huovinen, Scott College. Of course, none of this would be possible without some amazing sponsors. So we, of course, want to thank the F5 Project, the Ridge Treatment and Reentry Center, GoAwayBear.com, H9 Nutrition, our brand new sponsors.
Back to instruction.
Do we have Barney's Pub and Eatery?
Yep.
Yeah,
Barney's Pub and Eatery.
Wow. Thank you.
All right. So thank you, sponsors.
Appreciate you supporting this podcast. We're always looking for more sponsors as well to help enhance this and get the word out and that recovery is possible. And you got 4 people here that are in recovery.
And we're funny.
We think so.
We have a really good time.
We do have a good time. This is the best part of my week.
So
actually.
are we going to do live or are we not?
Not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He just
Well,
got
now I
excited
gotta
enough
delete
where
my
you
post.
thought.
Did you say?
I said we were going live.
I mean, we can go live if you want to go live. It's just a click of a button.
Just the click of a button.
Just click the
And
damn
we
button,
are
Ricky.
right
Let's
in front
do
of
it.
you.
I think people like it live.
It's easier, they say. And I've always
who are they?
been easy. So
Who are they?
the same people that say all the they things.
Oh, the they people.
Yeah.
Okay, we're
to
live
ask.
now.
Yeah, okay, sorry.
We're
I just was
FBL.
doing
Here
that.
we
Right.
go. Hello.
Hey, everybody
America.
tuning in from Facebook land.
Oh no.
Welcome to.
They're like,
to
it is too early.
oh,
for this.
FBL.
FBL.
Facebook land.
Absolutely no. Oh, I was like, oh, I heard it as soon as you said it. I was like,
Good one, Adam.
No.
Yes.
Not a good one. I just made it up.
It was so exciting.
oh wait, we're on Facebook Live.
You can't do that. Ricky.
All right. So what are we talking about today, Ricky?
Yeah.
Oh, we're talking about risk versus reward.
Risk versus reward.
Yeah. So starting off with like being in recovery, which is of course obviously we're all in recovery. Like when you're making decisions, is for me going to the casino, it's a risk, but is the reward like does it outweigh why I'm there? Or if my sponsee was really struggling and I thankfully didn't actually have to go to the bar to like take him out of the space because he just couldn't bring himself. He was drunk and was gambling and doing all things, and it's like, is this where like I want to help my sponsee, I want to make sure that they're okay and doing good, but is this me going there when they're absolutely drunk and at the blackjack table?
Yeah.
Is this worth helping him get through this moment compared to?
Did you just need a ride home?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. It is.
Yeah, I still end up going, but like it was like that, like that process of like this balance of, do I do this? Is this gonna affect? How much is this gonna affect me? Like all those things.
One of the things early on for me when in recovery this last time, I was going to it was a law enforcement softball tournament, and it has a few beers and that was kind of, I'd done that for many years, and I had talked to my sponsor at the time about it, and he pointed out like in the big book on page 101, which is AA 101, is it talks about if you're going for the right reasons, then it's okay and you're spiritually fit and you're in a good place, and the reason you're not going there for the excitement. Right. You're not going there to see what you're missing out on.
Right.
You're going there because you have a purpose, and that was really helpful for me. Even moving forward, like going to somebody's retirement party that was a bar, or a birthday party, as long as I was going for the right reason for that person. And, one of my friends, Brian, talked about one time he was at his kid's graduation and he was kind of upset about something. And he talked to his sponsor, and his sponsor, who are you there for? Are you there for Brian?
Yeah.
He's like, no, you're for my kid. He said, well, then be there for your kid.
Yeah.
That's the reason you're there, not to watch everybody else drink or
Be of service. Have a plan. Ask what you can do to help instead of everybody focus on me. I'm so sad I'm not drinking. Everybody gets a drink. Like the world moves on and they shouldn't have to stop doing anything they're doing because I'm there. And like you were saying, like have a plan, have a purpose. I think when I was new, my sponsor always said, if you have to go to like a family reunion or something, whether there's going to be chaos or a lot of drinking, take somebody with you that's sober, or have a plan to like, well, I'm going to be here for this many hours and then I'm going to go to a meeting. Just put your recovery first. Don't put yourself in, because you know if you're putting yourself in a spot where the opportunity to be shady is available, then I will take the shady path. That's just how I'm wired. I don't know, but but it's no one else's fault. Like a lot of times family members will say, well, we're going to have a party, like a reunion, whatever they're having, like some function, but my son is coming. He's new in recovery. Should we all not drink? Like, no, that is not, don't change anything. Because drawing more attention makes you more self-conscious, makes, you know what I mean? And it's okay just to dip out, at some point. If it feels weird, just call somebody, go somewhere else. You know what I mean? But
I think you should always have, like, for me, a lot of times, depending on the situation, like if we're going together, have my own vehicle. Mm-hmm. So if I want to leave, I can go. And that's something that was told to me early on in recovery is have your own vehicle so you're not stuck there and feel like you have to. If somebody else is having fun, it shouldn't be at your expense that they have to leave.
Yeah.
And if you're feeling uncomfortable, when you're uncomfortable.
Yeah.
We know when it's starting to be like, that looks kind of good.
They're having fun and I'm not, or whatever. Yeah.
Poor me.
Yeah.
The pity pot starts, and and then that's where I think always having that opportunity to give yourself an out, like you said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, has there ever been any scenarios where, is the reward always outweighing the risk, even in those situations, to go to the family function or to, do whatever? Like, is there ever like this isn't worth going to this family function. This isn't worth putting myself in that situation.
Yeah, I think you definitely have to have, that perspective of if I'm not in a good place, that's not a good place for me. And that's kind of what part of the idea is, I need to be spiritually fit, be in a good place. My recovery is in a good place before I put myself in those situations.
Right.
Because if I'm in that, because that happened to me the first time I was sober. I went to a deal in Minneapolis, and I was not in a good place. I wasn't hitting meetings. I was just sober. Okay. And these guys put a beer in front of me, and they didn't know me. They didn't know I hadn't. Yep. The only guy that knew was the other guy that was with me that had come from Fargo. And I looked at it, and I'm like, F it. I'm just going to drink. Mm. And I took that drink, and that's when it started. And I just went out of control. Right. But I wasn't in a good place to be in that. I should have never put myself in that situation. Right. But I did, and the risk was way higher, and it cost me a lot.
Yeah. Did you know that before you went?
No, because I wasn't. I had gotten so far down, and I really believe when we talk about my relapse happened long before I took that drink. Because I had already set myself up for those things. Right. To beat, knowing full well that I was probably going to be around a bunch of guys drinking. If I would have been in any kind of place, if I wouldn't have gone that far already, I would have told them, no, I can't go. This just isn't a good fit for me. Today, I would do that. Right. Like if I'm struggling with something or not doing so well, and somebody said, hey, you should come to this thing. I'm like, yeah, it's not a good place for me right now. I'm just going to pass on this. Mm-hmm. But that's a sign, too, that, okay, now I need to get reconnected to my recovery because I wasn't able to go to this thing because of fears that I had and the idea that, it's not a good place for me. Right. What am I not doing in my own recovery? I need to get back to the basics. Mm-hmm.
And we put ourselves in situations like that, like you said, when we know we're not in the right place. And I think that when a lot of times when people get sober or get into recovery, they think way too far down the line. Like, well, what am I going to do on Friday nights? I'm not going to have anybody to hang out with. Right. What am I going to do when they go to the bar? And then they think, well, I want to hang out with my friends. I'll just go hang out with my friends at the bar and I won't drink. Well, that's BS. And you might do that the first few times. That's not going to last. But if you just get active in your own recovery and let it play out in spite of yourself, pretty soon your Friday nights will be filled up with sober guys doing football picking or whatever that is, or
Ball picking.
or like
Picking.
all the fun things you think you're missing out on. It is fantasy. That's
You
for
need to
sure.
go pick some footballs.
Whatever.
Get out of this damn
Of
house.
everything Kirsten said, that's what you guys picked up on.
Oh, it's like being at home again. It's just like
But I think one of the
Scott has a need to mansplain.
mansplain this.
I
But
know
I think
what
one of the
fantasy football
ideas, one of the things you always hear is from like guys, like even for me, I was like, I'm not going to be able to have a drink with my daughter when she gets married, or drink, when they get married.
she doesn't
My
want you
daughter's
to have a
like
drink.
12,
Yeah, I know, yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
what if I can't drink at their weddings?
Yeah.
It's like, what if they never get married?
What if you have 4 more weddings? Yeah.
But it's we and I think that's another big important thing about recovery is not getting, like you said, so far out in the future.
That you
I'm
shoot
never
yourself
gonna
in the
drink
foot.
again.
Yeah, you quit trying at that moment because you
It's just
think,
like it's
well,
impossible.
what am I going to do when I graduate? Well, do you know how many millions of people don't drink on important days? That's most people. Yeah. And we just don't see that because we have never looked at the world like that, and you get so far ahead of yourself that you don't even take the risk. The risk of like, what if somebody knows I'm in recovery? Well, they all knew you were drunk, so it's not going to matter. What if somebody knows, like, I don't want to be uncomfortable in these meetings. What if it's too uncomfortable? I don't like getting to know new people. Well, the reward is bigger than you can even imagine at this point. The things you think you want right now, your life is going to be so much bigger than that. You can't even dream how big it's going to be.
Well, I think now, and why I wanted to bring up the topic, because I've been noticing lately, probably in the past week and a half, like it's been oddly enough like risk seeking, like trying to put myself in scenarios where it's like, ooh, let's test my recovery today. Why I think that's a good idea, I don't know. It's
not a good idea.
No, it's not. But just saying. Yeah, but it's like, oh yeah, this would be great. This would be really fun. And it's like, well, no, it's not. And then I'm more miserable. And, but like,
well, that wasn't fun.
no. But I don't know why I've been doing it. But like, just like trying to like not seek out, but just was like, oh, this could be really uncomfortable. Let's see how this goes. And just doing very just idiotic, or just going to places, or so I was DJing a week ago, give or take. And so I was DJing a concert, or I was DJing after a concert, and some friends were like, oh sweet, we're gonna go to Dempsey's. This would be great. Meet us, in the side room. And I know exactly what the side room is, where all the like, the games or different things are happening. I'm like, I was like, oh yeah. But at the time I was like, I'm just riding this high of like, oh, I just got done with this show. There's tons of people, like quickly packed up and just like sped over to Dempsey's thinking this was going to be like so much fun, because I just wanted to talk about, like, in my mind I was justifying like, oh, I can't wait to talk about like how great this show went, not realizing that I was like, okay, they were like, all right, hang out with us at this table. You don't have to drink if you don't want to, but we'll be here playing or whatever, and you could tell us all about it. And I'm like, oh yeah. And I'm like my brain completely shut off the fact that like I knew exactly what they were doing, what they were inviting me to, but just wanted to hang out and be like, hey, this is where we're going to be until bar close.
Sometimes your ego just takes over.
Yeah,
You
and
like
I'm just
getting
like, oh,
patted
this
on the
like
back.
I don't have to worry about any of that, like, because I haven't been triggered. That's what I've justified. I was like, oh, I haven't been triggered all week. This would be fine. Like, I'll just get through it. And of course, I show up. They're all winning. I'm like, oh man, this was a dumb idea. I was like, it was just like that. But like the entire drive there, when I parked, walking in, it was just like, oh, this is gonna be so great.
Yeah.
And then it was like all of a sudden, as like I got like to them, and they were like, hey, how
I
did
did
show
always
go?
wonder that, because DJing is like a late at night thing. It's a different, it's the party scene.
Yep.
Whereas like my life is, I'm in bed by 9, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. But is that hard though, when people probably offer you drinks and offer you all the other things that come along with all that stuff,
Because they want, like, they're on that level, and they're like, oh, you just got off work. It's like, hey,
Yeah.
do this with us.
Yeah.
And it's like, nah. I just, like, I'm riding a different kind of high, and I want to continue that high.
Yeah.
But then it was just like, this was a mistake. I need to just go home. So I was like, oh, I'm going to go grab a drink quick. And so I literally, like, went through, like, the back door. Like, Dempsey's has the 2 doors. So I just went through the back door, walked down the alley to my car, and just, like, went home. Because I was like, this isn't
Yeah.
I don't need to be
Like,
doing
that was
this.
silly.
I don't even think I know anyone who goes out anymore.
Yeah, I know. I'm that.
Isn't that weird? I mean, other than
Yeah.
Ricky, I can't think of any of like my friends that like go out to the bars.
Do anything like after 9 p.m.?
But my life feels fulfilled. I don't feel like I'm missing anything.
I can't think of anyone. Maybe a couple people at work that don't, identify as, alcoholic or addict or, or anything like that. But even, or maybe there's a lot of them that do. They just don't tell me.
Yeah, why would they? Yeah.
Who wants to bring the downer?
But your life feels
sober.
fun. You're still fulfilled.
Yeah.
You're not missing anything. Do you feel like you're missing out?
No, I get, I think early in sobriety, I, kind of missed it. Mm-hmm. I was also 31 years old or whatever. So I just got out of my 20s. So it was, I think that most of the people that I I like the guys that I hung out with were guys that probably would have hung out at bars had they not got sober. Mm-hmm. So it was kind of like hanging out with a bunch of doing our football picks,
Picking football.
Yeah, picking footballs. Guys, because we basically just took the rowdiest, most fun guys at the bars and got them sober.
Yeah.
And they were still the rowdiest, most fun people, but they were sober.
Yeah.
Right? And so
Not going to jail.
and they're not going to
And
jail.
that's so fun. Yeah.
Yeah, and and everyone can remember what they did the
Yeah.
next day. Nobody's searching through their text trying to figure out and piece things together. You're not walking back to the bar to try and see if your car is still there. Like,
Where'd I leave that thing?
yeah, the bar lost out on some money, but did they? I mean, broken stuff.
Yeah. For real. Yeah.
You can't tell me how
There's
many times
another
I
one of
broke
us
like
to
the
fill
back
the
of
seat.
toilet seats and stuff and
That didn't
cracking
was
it
you.
over. Yeah. Where did you do cocaine?
I didn't.
Oh. You did it?
Yeah, Facebook Live, FBL.
Okay, sorry. Sorry.
FBL.
I just think everybody does.
No.
Anyway, I have a question for Ricky. Remember when we first started this thing and Ricky said how triggering Candyland was, or Chutes and Ladders? Is that still a thing? Just because now it's been 2 and 3 more years or whatever.
I would imagine
and
any game of chance is.
but it's a
can
game with your kid wants to play it.
Yeah, it's gotten a lot better.
Can you play cards? Like, say,
I have.
Go fish.
Pinochle,
I played
Whist.
like
I mean,
phase
if you're
10.
not playing.
God, why are you? Why?
Let's
Can
just-
you
let's just
smoke
throwing
weed?
stuff till stuff
Can
triggers
you
it.
drink
No,
NA beer?
Leave
I
him
was-
shaking.
I can't drink NA beer. I
Right.
don't believe in it.
Gross-ish.
Well,
I
why
don't
would
like
you
it.
ask him if he can play cards?
Well, she just asked me to play Shoot Lands or whatever the hell it was.
Shoots and ladders?
Yeah. Oh, Chutes and
Candy.
Land. Kid football.
Candyland.
We're all, we got our things here. That's because it was in reference to something
We'll have
we
to
had previously discussed.
You're gonna have to find that episode where we were making fun of Ricky when he was playing.
Oh, so it's okay for you guys to make fun of him and ask him about cards?
I just couldn't. You'll have to find the episode because I sat on it. I sat on it for like 10 minutes and didn't say anything, and then finally,
You can see Adam's like.
I'm just like, oh my god, I need to
The
say
other
something.
time, when I rewatched it, it was like you were holding it.
I held it.
Tongue's bleeding, yeah.
But eventually I'm just like, I gotta say something. I just imagine Ricky sitting at a kid's birthday party and just like, nah, like scratching his neck. They're playing
go.
Shoots and Ladders, god damn it.
Lucky suckers, I bet they got 20 on that.
I bet that kid's got 5 cents into that one.
Yo, grandma. I bet when he rolls that dice, it's a 6.
20?
They don't, yeah.
What's the
Anyway.
question? Card games have been easier, but I try not to do anything that has like dice, because it's more I think it's the noise. It triggers a lot faster
Oh.
than like the seeing card. Because I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but there's cards and dice there. It's fine because it just sits there.
Yeah.
But those are styrofoam. They're not going to make any noise. But
They're not gonna
imagine
quit.
if they the click.
Maybe
So
change them to
Yahtzee's out.
styrofoam.
Oh, I cannot.
Not play Yahtzee.
What if your kid's like, I want to play this? Are you going to explain it to him or you be like, yeah, I can suck it up for one?
I'd probably
call
try
my
to suck
sponsor.
it.
Hey,
or
Camille asked, do any of you feel like you've coped with your past addiction with an alternative risky behavior?
Yes.
Yeah, gambling.
It's nice knowing you, Camille. That is not a right question, Camille.
She knows why she's asking
I
that
know
damn
she knows.
question.
She knows who she's directing.
She's probably
that to.
she's like, I hope Adam talks to Ricky. He shouldn't be playing Chutes and Ladders.
Or Candyland.
Candyland.
I think addiction is just like you just find the next shiny thing. Like you really
It's
do.
just a dopamine hit. Whatever
yeah.
the next thing is going to make you feel better.
But the thing about like
But
having
make it
something
healthier-
else,
healthier
yeah.
addictions, yeah.
Does it mean it's if
Oh,
it's not
here comes
healthy?
the justification.
Well, yeah, I gotta clarify this shit.
Here it goes.
I
If
know
it's
when you're
not-
selling, man.
If it's not something that I'm doing that really affects somebody else, like my drinking affected people.
But you
My
didn't think
addiction-
so initially.
Huh?
Initially, you're like, this doesn't hurt anybody but me.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying is, but I realize that that's
Yeah,
like if
yeah.
I have something else that I'm doing and it's starting to affect other people,
Right.
then I need to really take a look at that behavior.
Yeah. And you will feel like this is not working, or
Right.
yeah, it's just a learning process. Like, don't get so
Well, we walked right into her trap. She just
caught
said
up in
boom.
stuff. What do you mean? What's booming?
And she's trying to get us to talk about other risky behaviors that probably Scott or myself have partook in.
Oh,
I would say partook or
Partook in.
partake when you're trying to justify something.
I partook it.
like you get sober and then you're slutty,
She's-
and then you
That's,
get
no,
what?
that is not the behavior. We
too
weren't
far?
slutty.
You're not allowed to say it. She can.
No.
It's another one of those, Scott. Yep.
I can't
Sorry.
say I'm not.
No,
slutty.
no.
Well,
no.
it's just like the next shiny thing, right? Like you
Yeah.
go from
You go
drugs
from
to men
drugs to women.
to work
To-
to
Work is one. Yeah, let's go
money,
to work.
to
Yeah,
gambling,
work is.
to
Yeah, nobody ever talks
gossip.
about trying to like.
Gossip is
You talk about
addiction.
managing. You know, it's like, well, you know, it's only if it affects other people. You know, but then it's like, well, I'm addicted to work. It's like, well, what are you gonna quit?
Right.
still
You
affect
quit your
your family.
job?
Yeah, that's
Like-
like extra family.
You could put on mandatory
Anything can
vacation.
be unhealthy.
Anything.
Anything. Yeah.
True.
Salt and pepper.
Exercise.
Done in excess,
Exercise.
Too much.
for sure.
Exercise
avoid
can
it.
be-
I
yeah.
avoid it. Yeah.
In our culture, it's no. The more salt, the better.
It can be bad for you.
Yeah, anything
health.
can be bad for you to excess.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why even like in the like when people are interpreting the Bible with like drinking, like they're like the Baptists are like, oh, drinking is like completely wrong, and they're like, well, what about Jesus serving people wine? You know,
Right.
like being a drunkard,
Yeah. it
Was-
says it in there.
right? You know, so it's to excess of anything.
Right. And we don't exist on anything other than drugs and alcohol.
Well, I think like
my
we
God,
focus on
you-
ourselves
You
lot.
are something else. You know that.
until we can be others focused. Yeah.
Yeah. Mine is
Kind
to
of.
serve others.
You're addicted to serving others.
Oh. Even
That's
the
called
kindest
the
thing you do is
codependency.
selfish.
Oh, yeah. That's what it is. I was
You want to pay
joking.
my bills?
Oh, can I? Where do I sign up?
It'd be good service for you.
That's right. You don't want to really work.
No.
We talked about that before.
I know.
We went on.
I like the job I got.
Yeah.
Yep.
What it
No.
comes down to is that it's everybody's journey, right? And so we don't shame, we don't guilt, right? If Ricky all of a sudden started playing blackjack, I'd be concerned, right? Because he's told me that he has a gambling problem, but I'm not gonna. It's not my responsibility to like get all codependent on him and shame him and guilt him and whatever. Like that's where he's
Yeah,
at.
that doesn't
And-
help. Yeah.
No, it just is. It's the same with drinking or doing meth or whatever. Like I view it all the same. It's just a thing that happened.
It's quality
Right?
of life. If
It's,
your life is better, enjoy it. For real. If you
See,
feel
that's what I
shitty
was
about
trying to
gambling,
say.
don't gamble. If you
That's-
feel shitty about doing meth,
Okay,
don't
I
do that.
thought you were saying if you want to do meth, just do meth.
No.
All right, it's
I
like,
mean, if
what?
you want to, I guess
No.
Give it a shot.
Don't.
No.
No.
And then if it sucks, which it will, because you're going to lose your teeth, then don't.
Oh, my gosh.
Okay, you know what I meant. Filter. Somebody say that the way it should be said.
I guess, let me
know
think.
what you're
I guess I'm not 100% against that. Like I'm against, like, I don't want people to use meth. I don't want them to gamble or anything like that. But it's bound to happen. Right? And we can either just look at it as another thing that just happened and get off our, you know, our backs and get back on our feet and start moving forward. Or, you know, there's plenty of guys that I meet that are constantly using, and they would say relapsing or whatever. And it's just like, I mean, we can talk about that if you want or whatever, or we can just treat people like human. I mean, how many, like people who are addicted to work, we don't, oh, darn you for being addicted to work.
We don't.
You know what I mean?
45
No,
hours.
we shame things we don't understand.
Yeah.
This is why for most people who have never done meth or, you know, or whatever, they'll do those you know, why don't you just get sober for your kid? You know what I mean? Like, well, it's not like I didn't think of that.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
I
it's
know
like-
that never crossed your mind.
Right. Like all the things that you're telling me is like I'm sorry I
know.
didn't.
Yeah.
How
Who
did I
would have
not?
thunk?
Yeah.
You know?
How did I not think of that?
Yeah.
And you can love someone and you can love them and not love their behavior or addiction. You don't have to support that by supporting them. You know, you just don't have to just like you said, the judgment is what creates the boundary, not the addiction. The judgment of what they're doing creates
The boundaries.
it just doesn't let you be helpful, you know, because we've been to, everybody has already said you shouldn't do this. We know that part. It's the how do I get out of this? Talking with somebody that knows where I've been, that isn't like,
If I want to get out of it.
yeah,
You know,
for
that's
sure.
the part of it.
And if they don't, that's okay.
If
too.
you're in it and you don't want to get out of it and don't want to change, it's not my job to change you.
or judge it,
You know, and Chuck Lohman used to always say, hate the disease, not the person.
yeah,
You know, because that's what it is. It's a disease, you know, whether it's gambling, drugs, women, men, whatever it is, that's their addiction has put them in a place where they're jeopardizing relationships.
yeah.
And that's what we do.
And when I hear often like, well, if they're going to drink again, they can't be a part of this family. Well, that's ludicrous. That's like isolating them. That's making it worse. You can have a relationship with someone and not support their illness. You know what I mean? You can have boundaries, and just like if it gets overboard, you leave. You know, all that stuff.
But I do think there comes a point, you know, we talk about the tough love part of it. You know, there does come a point in families, I think, where if somebody continues in the behavior that they're just like, I need to cut off, doesn't mean you have to I never need to speak to you again.
Right.
I just can't be around you when you're
That's a healthy boundary. Yep.
Partaking in the behavior.
If you partook in it,
Yeah, you know, I think that's a big part of it.
no, that's a healthy boundary. Yeah,
Right.
That's good.
I'm like,
Yeah.
you know, I've got situations where, you know, and I think sometimes, even in recovery, sometimes, you know, we get to the point, like if we're in recovery and somebody goes back out,
Yeah.
we almost become like, oh, I can't talk to that person
Oh, it's weird.
because I'm going to get drunk, you know, and it's like we almost isolate them
Yeah.
because of their behavior instead of saying, hey, what's up, man? And I always go back to when our friend Tony came up to me and said, hey, just because you're drinking doesn't mean we can't be friends.
Yeah. But
You know,
a lot of times your interests change.
Right.
You're
You're not hanging out with
you don't know what to say.
Well, as
Usually
the person
the
that,
people that are drinking are the ones that back away.
right.
It's
But I
not-
don't think I can say there's times where I've known people that have gone, and I haven't made the effort to call them or reach out to them and say, how are you doing? You know, just because they're not in my circle anymore.
Right.
You know, but is that right or is that wrong? You know, I think the important part is if I reach out to that person and say, hey, dude, you're still my friend, whatever. If you want to hang out, I'm here for you. I'm just not going to go to the bar with you,
Yeah.
but I'll go have coffee or whatever if you want.
Sure.
You know, and like Adam's saying, I think most of the time they're not going to take that on because they're feeling guilty and having shame because, you know, or thinking we're going to judge them.
Yeah.
But I think it falls back on us in recovery sometimes to make that first contact too. to reach out to those people or stay in contact with them to say, hey, man, what's up? I just want to let you know I'm thinking about you. Because sometimes that can trigger somebody to say, man, I need to get back into this.
Yeah.
Because, you know.
Without like stalking them. I
Right,
mean, the opportunity
right. I'm just saying,
present itself. Or
not every day you're like, hey, how you doing?
Hey,
You know,
are you still out there?
Are you still doing the crazy shit?
There are some old timers that are like that.
Oh, yeah.
They're just like,
You hear some of those old
and back in
timers
the
stories?
day, they were aggressive. They were I remember when I first went to NPG. Oh my gosh, every goddamn day, James or Dave was like, "Hey, how's it going?" Like same as yesterday, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You want to go to a meeting? Not really.
Yeah.
You need a sponsor?
Yeah, and then they stopped, and I was like, "Why aren't they texting me
Come on,
anymore?"
guys.
You tricked me. Reverse psychology.
Yeah.
But
those
you
were the
come
days,
back.
yeah.
You came back. Like, that doesn't seem like... You don't want to burn a bridge. You don't want it to be a place where... You know, because they say in recovery, you don't shoot your wounded. And I know I treat it like that. I don't know if everybody else does. But it... Yeah, there's no judgment. Just come back. Nobody cares. We've all done the things.
Yeah. And I think for me, like, when I came back, like, I went to that Saturday morning men's meeting, and I was like, I tried to go like 4 or 5 times, and I just couldn't go through the doors. Mm-hmm. Then when I finally, because I thought they were all going to be judging me.
Yeah.
You know, like, look at this idiot. Because I had burnt it to the ground, like, destroyed everything, relationships, everything. But as soon as I walked in there, you know, they just, most of them put their arm around me and said, hey, man, we missed you.
Yeah.
You know, there was no, but in my disease didn't want me back in there.
Right.
Because I think that's the part of it, is because that guilt and shame and remorse keeps me from coming back in that door, because I already have said what they're going to do to me, and it's nowhere near that.
Yeah.
And once you come back and then you do that, you're like, oh man, they didn't even say anything about my drinking.
Does
What the
anybody want to
hell?
know? I mean...
Do you know I was out there for 2.5 years getting stupid? You didn't even mention it. You know, it's like,
You don't even think about me. Oh...
the hell, I'm going back out because of you. Adam just shakes his head at me. I love that part. There's that Adam look I get sometimes, like, what in the hell did you just say?
I've never made that look.
Well, it's different.
Yeah.
Perception. Maybe your
It's
perception.
that one right there. That one, yes. See it?
The eyes get all sultry.
Yep.
Oh, what?
Sultry? That's a
you
weird
say that
judgment.
word?
What'd you call me?
Could you say that?
Yes, it's S-U-L, not S-L.
Ricky can say anything.
Sluttery? Sluttery?
Wow.
Sultry.
He said S-L-U.
Right.
S-U-L. It's 2 different variations of the same word. My mom's an English teacher. I know nothing. She's very sad.
Sultry means
or
like, I'm going to seduce.
Amber Lund says, I feel there is a crucial time when people first go back out to show up more than you ever have. Also, if they don't want to come back, keep doing check-ins and reminding them they are loved. Everyone deserves for someone to love them no matter what.
Aw.
Yeah, Amber Lund. She's a peer support at F5
She's
Project.
pretty great.
She's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, the phone is heavy.
She's
like,
awesome.
I've always thought,
Sometimes
like, if
she can be
somebody's
like
new...
a bull in a china closet. But
I know.
she's
I
awesome.
love that.
Yeah.
That's so great.
That's what makes her so lovable.
But when people are new, the phone's really heavy. Like, that doesn't make sense anymore, I suppose, with cell phones. But we used to have landlines.
And they were
And
heavy.
they'd say they're heavy, yes.
100 pounds.
Yeah. Jeez. Now the buttons are just fuzzy.
Well,
or
you
I
don't
don't
need
know.
to touch a goddamn phone anymore. It's like, call Kirsten.
Hey, Siri,
Yeah.
just go.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, I was like,
I'm calling you, by the way.
Oh, thanks. I'll wonder why you
still
called
have
in 2
service?
hours.
I'm on the Wi-Fi.
My phone went to SOS.
But I think it
That
is
was
important to call when, like, if somebody's new and they haven't called you for a couple days, and
Oh, yeah.
just call, because it's weird. It's weird to go to recovery and be like, well, when somebody says, okay, call me every day so we can just kind of get to know each other, and you're like, you are a stranger to me. Why would I do this? I text and rarely call unless I'm driving or it's some kind of weird emergency.
Right.
But it's just like, it's easy. You've been around a while. You know what it's like to be new. So just call. You know what it's like to be ashamed. So just call, you know?
Yeah, I think it's important.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's the heaviest part, though. I feel like to kind of go back to what you were talking about, Scott, like when you're in recovery and you know somebody's out or you haven't seen them in a while, it's just that like, I don't want to bother. I don't want to just, maybe they're doing fine. Maybe everything is great. Unless I know like that they're not doing great.
Well, then when you call, they'll be like, everything's fine. I'm doing great.
I know. But I feel like that's the like, for me, that's the scary part of like, oh, man, what if they're not doing okay? That means then I'm going to have to like, sounds terrible now I'm about to say it, but like, it's like now I have to do something. Like, how do you take that information and be like, oh, you're still drinking? Are you still gambling? Oh, you're still whatever? That's cool.
Bring them into the fold.
You know, it's like, what do I say?
It reminds me of a guy. At one time, I was in jail and I had access to like a free phone, which was like because I was working in the kitchen. I wasn't supposed to be using the phone, but I called some guys from meetings or whatever, and I was just like, "Hey, what's going on?" And they're like, "Where are you?" I was like, "In jail." And they're like, "Oh." And then he like, there was a long pause. He's like, "I'm gonna be honest. I don't really know what I'm supposed to talk to you about or whatever." I was like, "I was just calling to call." Right. You know what I mean? And so I think a lot of times we like, you know, who's really good at this stuff is sales guys, because sales guys can talk about nothing forever. Yeah. You know what I mean? And a lot of times people just want to like know that they're being heard or that someone wants to talk to them.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, and not about like rarely like when you call someone and you're like, "Hey, how's it going?" Like they'll usually start off with like, at least for me, they'll be like, with me now, where I'm at with like F5 and stuff, they'll usually want to lead with like their worst shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're just like, "Oh man, I went on a bender, you know, whatever," and it's like, "All right, well, how's other things going?"
Yeah.
"Well, I lost my kids," and it's just like, yeah, that happens with it. You want to go get some coffee?
I just want
you know what I mean? Like, do you want to? And then I'll try and like break it with like, "I just saw that new Transformers movie. This was the shit." And they're like, "You want to talk about Transformers? My life is falling apart." Like, well, let's not do this at Hornbacher's.
Yeah.
Let's go somewhere more. You want to go meet at my office or something? You know.
But I think once they know you've helped a lot of people, they think you're just gonna give them like this silver bullet, but it's not. Like, we can't fix your whole life right now, but if you start this process, it's going to be a mess. It's going to feel like nothing changed and it's all still shit, but it will change over time. So now, talk about Transformers. Go to Transformers with somebody that's also sober. Start living your life sober, and it will change. The big things will change. I love the Transformers
series, is what I'm saying.
It's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, you like it?
Oh,
I hate it.
No, you like it.
That's what you said.
It's a week.
What do you mean?
It's a week series.
Were you gapped out?
No, she was just saying that it's like just go live life sober, and then you were like, "Yeah, I love the Transformers."
I didn't miss what you said. I was totally into what
you
you said.
Yeah. But
he really likes
Ricky's
the
just trying to
Transformers.
be that. He's a feminist.
He's trying to stay on topic because he's
He thinks I'm trying to like overtalk you.
No.
Are
He
you-
thinks you
do
just
you,
have
Ricky?
ADD
Yeah,
and
he
you're
does.
like
I
off
do
on a
have
different
ADD.
thing.
He did.
He's trying to
I-
keep you reined in.
I do think what you're saying, Adam, is that's a big part of it, is because everybody that's calling them probably from their normal, the normies, their family, whoever it is. Are you still drinking? Are you? They're. It's always about leading with their
Explain.
what's their problem is right now. Whereas if you're able to just kind of lay it out there and say, "Yeah, man, just checking in on how you doing," and then start talking about other things like, "Hey, I'm going to go to the Red Sox game. I don't know, you interested?"
Yeah.
Or I got some guys that are getting together, go golfing. You up for it?
Yeah.
Just to kind of redirect it and figure out. I had a guy one time, we were doing the dry open golf tournament, and he was sober 3 days. And I said, "You should golf in this. I think you'd have fun," because he's a golfer. He gets there and he calls me, and it's like getting ready to tee out. Everybody's having fun, laughing, joking, slapping each other on the back, blah, blah, blah. And he calls me from the parking lot. He said, "I can't move." I said, "What?" I said, "The cart doesn't work." He goes, "No, I can't move."
Oh,
He goes, "I don't know what the F to do."
no.
He said, "I've never played golf sober."
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay. I said, "Well, I'm going to drive out there." And then we just kind of talked a little bit, but he was so overwhelmed with how much fun everybody was so loud, like, "Hey, college, what's up, man?" Shit like that.
Yeah.
He just he drove out to the parking lot, just sat there in the middle of the parking lot. And I'm like,
I forgot how to golf.
yeah. He said, "I don't know if I can do this." I said,
Yeah.
"I can." I said, "How about this?" I said, I'll switch teams and I'll golf with you. You can ride with me.
Yeah, perfect.
And it worked
It's a
out
huge
perfect.
thing. It's a huge thing. Just learn how to enjoy stay sober, and it builds an amazing life.
But I think for us, like everybody in there, you know, we're like, this is normal, you know, that are having fun and everything. And this guy's doing that. So they're like, we don't, you know, we're like, I don't get it. Why can't you golf, you know?
Yeah.
But whatever the situation is, but they're like overwhelmed with it.
Yeah.
And they're like, I don't know how to do this right sober, you know?
They say, get over yourself. You're like, well, I don't know how to do that yet. I am all I think about.
I like Transformers.
Well, he took that back.
Dictate what I'm going to talk about, where my attention is.
How about those Transformers?
Tread on me.
I'm not even.
I had something else. I just can't say it.
Yeah, we're so FBI.
Okay, so we're done talking about Transformers.
I'm a libertarian.
How about those Transformers?
Some days it's like sitting with my three boys.
So-
it's just like,
Along with the risk and the reward or whatever, I think that what we're talking about is more the risky stuff for like people who are sober trying to reach out to, you know, people who are still using. Because I think the risk is like, I'm going to feel uncomfortable,
yeah.
you know, and that's why I was saying that I think sales guys are the best at it, because they just have whatever part of their brain where that risk versus reward, when it like reaching out and cold calling people or like knocking on doors or picking people up and bringing them, it was like removed for sales guys. That honestly, I think that's why there's so many sales guys that are sober, because they had that part of their brain removed or whatever, and they just had like a super impulsive ADHD, happy-go-lucky, like you know. And they're like, I don't know if you know many like sales guy, like they like, you know, when they drank the night before.
Oh yeah.
And they're still like trying to like dust it off. They're sweating, you know, hungover.
Oh yeah.
But all of a sudden they just like turn it on.
Yep.
And they're just like, you know, and they just use that same transferable skills to like sponsor guys and get them into, you know, they're just like 100 miles an hour. They're perfect. Like if you know a guy that is like that, you need to hire him and like set him to go prospect and find guys that are in trap houses and pull them out and get them sober.
Yeah.
Sell them something.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right,
Sell
them recovery.
Bill.
Hey, woo!
Jeez.
Transformers.
Well, it's 10-10.
10 after 10.
No. Yeah, that is. And the risk, like you were talking about, is the feeling uncomfortable. But if you're not uncomfortable, you're not getting better. I will stand by that.
Yeah.
As long as
There's no comfort in the, or there's no growth in the comfort zone, and there's no comfort in the growth zone.
Ooh.
Dang, mic drop. And with that, we want to thank our sponsor.
That was a good
I
transition.
think we go out
I
on
don't
that
know if
one.
I'd buy that t-shirt.
I'm very uncomfortable
Talking
right
about
now.
growth and comfort, make sure to try Barney's Pub and Eatery for some comfort food. And you will grow your belly.
Okay, we'll say belly because
Yeah.
that. Yep.
Your palate, maybe. Palate?
No, his hand gestures weren't really.
Well, it's
And then I was like, Adam, let's just like we were doing so good. We were doing so
Then you
good.
look at
I
her.
know, and I was like, no. I was like, just stay. I was like, I shouldn't have said anything.
Nope.
Should have just left
Should
it.
have went with
Every
Transformers.
Thursday.
Yep.
You should have let him talk about Transformers.
Because Kirsten didn't see it, and I was like, yep, that's fine. It's the internet. They'll see
No.
it. It'll be fine.
That'd be way cheaper.
Be sure to try Barney's Pub and Eatery, and you will have growth.
Like cups and cups. Yeah. I wouldn't. Yeah.
We want to
that'd
thank
Did you say cups and cups?
No, we're going to thank our sponsors.
our sponsors.
did not.
We want to thank F5 Project, the Ridge Treatment and Reentry Center, who's having their 2-year celebration, by the way.
Yeah.
Which is super awesome.
That's
2 years.
amazing.
And then H&I Nutrition, Heat Transfer Warehouse, shirts from Fargo, and GoAwayBear.com, Barney's Pub and Eatery, and Back to Construction.
Back to reality.
That was a
Oh, by the
good
way, I'm
90s
getting
tune.
my Shirts from Fargo.
We thank their sponsors, and we're still going.
I'm getting this Stop Digging T-shirt today.
Are you?
Yeah,
Nice.
and a white F5 hat.
Yeah, we started a new series called Letters from Lifers. And I actually
yeah.
talked to Travis Collins at NDSP yesterday, and he approved to the lifers to start writing letters from
cool.
NDSP.
Yeah.
And we're going to start posting them on our blog. So
Oh,
be sure to
love
go
it.
to
Yeah.
Good thing I
fiproject.org.
brought that up.
Check out our blog, and you can see those letters.
And you can get the T-shirts because they are really
Yep,
cool.
the T-shirt
Stop
link
digging.
is right on the blog for the last lifer letter that we put on there.
Dope.
So
It's dope.
he
So
did a whole talk on
yeah.
basically that about how he kept digging
Yeah.
into his own grave, essentially, with his emotions and responding to the world and all that stuff. And it
cool.
was just, he nailed it. And so
Yeah.
we made a T-shirt, Keep Digging, and it's going to go to supporting
Love
this
it.
blog. So,
Stop digging.
stop digging. Sorry,
Stop digging.
keep digging.
The insight.
that's
of-
our other
Stop
T-shirt.
digging his own grave. Yeah, see, he wrote it. I didn't write it. So,
I'm gonna wear it next week for the
Yeah.
crew.
Perfect.
so
Sweet.
everybody on Facebook, thank you for tuning in today. Ricky will
Yes.
cue us out.
That's right. You guys have a great day in recovery. This is One Pretty Ricky, Kirsten Huovinen, Adam Martin, my man Scotty Too Hottie.
Woo!
See you later.
Have a good day.